2 months. That's how long it had been since the divorce papers were signed. 2 months since I'd watched the woman I thought I'd grow old with pack her things, slam the door, and walk out with someone else. I'd spent the first few weeks just trying to breathe again, learning how to make breakfast for my son, Ethan, without burning the toast, remembering to smile when he told me about school, and pretending that every night didn't feel quieter than the last. Divorce changes a man. It breaks you in places you didn't know could crack. But it also forces you to rebuild, stronger, clearer, and maybe a little more honest about who you are. That Saturday morning, the world felt unusually calm. I was folding laundry while Ethan played with his Legos in the living room when there was a knock at the door. At first, I thought it was the delivery guy. But when I opened it, I froze. Standing there, wrapped in a gray coat and holding a small box, was Lena, my ex-wife's younger sister. "Hi," she said softly. "Can we talk?" I hadn't seen her since the divorce hearing. She looked different, tired, but not in the physical sense. More like someone carrying secrets too heavy for her to hold. "Of course," I said, stepping aside. Ethan ran up and smiled. "Aunt Lena." He hugged her legs before running back to his toys, unaware of the tension in the room. Lena sat down, clutching the box like it was her anchor. "I wouldn't have come if it wasn't important," she began. "But I couldn't keep quiet anymore." My stomach tightened. "Is this about your sister?" I asked carefully. She nodded. She took a deep breath. "You deserve to know the truth. The night before she left, she told me she had been seeing someone for months, your coworker, Mark." I froze. I knew about Mark. He had come to our house for dinner a few times. I told her she was destroying her family, but she laughed. Said you were too predictable, too boring. Lena's voice trembled. I didn't say anything then, because I thought it wasn't my place. But watching you raise Ethan alone, watching how much you still care for her memory in his eyes, I can't stay silent anymore. I sat down slowly, trying to absorb her words. It wasn't news that my ex had been unfaithful. The timing of her departure had made that obvious. But hearing it from her own sister, seeing the guilt in Lena's eyes, made it real in a way it hadn't been before. "Why now?" I asked quietly. "Because she called me last night," Lena said. "She's already having problems with Mark. She wanted to borrow some money. And when I said no, she told me I should go cry to her ex if I felt so bad for him." Lena looked down. I realized, she doesn't care about anyone but herself. Not even family. Silence hung between us. Ethan's laughter from the other room filled the air like distant music, a reminder of innocence untouched by all this. Then Lena said something that changed everything. "I want to help," she whispered. "Not out of pity, but because you and Ethan deserve better. You've always treated people with kindness, even when they didn't deserve it. I see that now." I didn't know what to say. There was no hidden meaning in her words, no romantic undertone, just genuine warmth. It had been so long since someone spoke to me without judgment, without pity. That afternoon, she stayed for lunch. She helped Ethan build a Lego tower, laughed for the first time in months, and listened when I finally talked about the nights I'd felt like giving up. Days turned into weeks. Lena would visit now and then, sometimes to drop off a home-cooked meal, sometimes to help Ethan with homework. The three of us fell into a quiet rhythm that felt peaceful. She never mentioned her sister again, and I never asked. What started as an apology turned into something resembling family. Then one afternoon, while we were sitting on the porch watching Ethan ride his bike, Lena turned to me. "Do you ever wonder if people walk out of our lives so the right ones can walk in?" I looked at her, startled by how easily she could read my thoughts. "Maybe," I said. "But I also think some people walk away so we can find ourselves first." She smiled, and for the first time, the past didn't feel so heavy. Months later, my ex-wife showed up unannounced, angry, desperate, asking why her sister wasn't answering her calls. Lena stood beside me, calm and firm. "Because I'm done being your backup plan," she said. My ex's jaw dropped. "You too?" "No," I interrupted. "We're not together. But she's part of my son's life, and she's earned her place here." For once, my ex didn't have a comeback. She just turned and left. When the door closed, Lena exhaled shakily. "You sure about this?" she asked. I nodded. "More than I've ever been." Sometimes, life rebuilds itself in the most unexpected ways, not with grand gestures, but with quiet forgiveness and the courage to start again. That day, as Ethan came running up the steps, laughing, I realized something. Family isn't always the one you're born into. Sometimes it's the one that knocks on your door when you least expect it.